Depression is often called the common cold of mental health. This video today is going to be a little introduction into depression, and I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but I want to focus on one key aspect of what keeps a person in a depressed state. Now, if you've never struggled with depression, you got no clue, man. What can I tell you? And if you do struggle with depression and you tell people that you're depressed, most people will say, well, just get busy, do something, be happy. We're tired of you moping around and all that. You know how heavy that can be, right? Because you're already feeling bad. And then people tell you to stop feeling bad. You say, if I could stop feeling bad, I would stop feeling bad, but I can't. Why do people get depressed? Let me just briefly run through this. I mean, it could be genetic, could be a family history of depression. That's certainly in the Misja family. We've had grandfathers, grandmothers, and probably way before then who have been just struggled with depression. So you kind of could be in the genes, could be in the blood, okay? Could be in the synapses, could be in that pool of chemicals. There may be a biological basis, there may be a genetic basis. It could have been modeled. Your family could have been a depressed family. Or you could have had a really rough life. And part of you has kind of given up. And that's where we're going to focus today. We're going to focus on the part of you that may have given up, because the characteristic I want to talk about today with depression is one that many of you who really struggle with this will know so well. And that is, life just has lost any purpose and meaning. Why bother? Why get up in the morning? Why go through my day? Where's it all going? Now, you may have had many losses, especially some people get older. You can't hit the home runs anymore. Nobody wants to, invite you to the party. Things have changed. And the things that used to be meaningful to you, parenting your kids, being at a certain place at your church or your work, you're no longer in those positions. Or you can no longer do what you've done before. Now, you don't have to be an old person. You can be 25 and the same thing can happen. What you used to be able to do, you can't do. You've had losses. And so your body shuts down. Your spirit shuts down. And life loses its purpose and meaning. So point number one with this is to say that's not abnormal. People who aren't depressed can lose purpose and meaning. And your job is going to be to find purpose and meaning. We're going to talk about that. So what do I mean by it's normal? What I find as I've gotten older and talk with people as they've gotten older is that every few years I have to redefine why I get up in the morning. Life changes. I change. And my body changes. And friendships change. And the reason I used to get up is not the reason I get up anymore. And some people stop fighting that battle. They just say, oh, I don't know. I just kind of riding off into the sunset, or numbing myself with an addiction or television or what it might be. But everybody who really wants to be a vital person has to continually, throughout life, rethink and redefine why I get up in the morning. Now, a depressed person feels the tension of no longer having a purpose more strongly than most people. But normalize it, okay? If you're that depressed person that I'm talking to, you're not that abnormal. So just normalize your battle with purpose and meaning. Friends, family, church, job, doesn't have a zing anymore. And so the body does depress, it shuts down. So what is the answer to this? And as we do these videos, I'm going to get much more into depth, but I want to target this one area, because if you and I can get hold of this one area, we have a place to dig in. We have a place to dig in. Okay, so the area of purpose and meaning means simply this. Something, in order for me to find purpose and meaning, I have to realize that I have purpose and meaning. And what it is my depression. I think about my depression all the time. And I think negatively about it. I think about my failures. I think about my losses. I think about being rejected. I think about how everybody else gets a break and I don't. I feel like, I have nothing to look forward to. But my depression can consume me. Be careful, okay? Stay with me on this. Because if you can get that, then you have a chance to move past your depression. Not completely, of course, but you can move past it. So what do I mean by this? There was a pastor. He was a very successful pastor, and he was looked up to, and he fell. He got caught in sin, and he fell hard, and he lost everything. And depression hit him big time. Wrote a book on it. So he had a very curious comment on his depression. You know, depression is kind of sometimes like a dark room you go into. I look at it often as the Proverbs 7 seductress pulls you into this place. Come on in. And there's incense and there's fresh sheets. And the promise of life is there, but actually death is there. There is no life there. So he talks about a dark room that he goes into when he's depressed. Those of you who struggle with depression, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's the interesting take on it. He says that the room is not empty. In fact, he has decorated the room. He's decorated the darkness, meaning, I know what's in here. I know how to suffer. I know how to loathe myself and to question, God, do you really exist? Does anybody care? And it's familiar, and it almost feels, boy, this is weird, right? It almost feels a little like I like it because it's so familiar. There's a safety to it, but remember, there's no life there, so you can't stay there. So your preoccupation with your depression must give way to something else. And here's the next key point. The next key point is it must give way to something that matters more than your pain. More than your pain. Okay? Now, what could that be? Well, think about it. Who matters more than your pain? Well, nobody cares about me. It doesn't matter. They'd be happier if I were gone. Well, that's probably not true from my experience of talking with many, many people. Somebody's watching you. Somebody will benefit by your fight with depression, by your re-engaging with life, because that's what the darkness does. It takes you away from engaging with life and with yourself and with God and with others. So the last thing you may feel like doing is re-engaging with life, because you're going to lose again. You're going to be rejected again. Nevertheless, that's what you want to do. You want to not live in your despair, even if you feel it. So what does that look like? It means taking action of some sort. Now, it may mean taking action with God, just praying, just saying, God, I don't feel any of this, but I know you love me. I know you have a purpose and a meaning in my life, even though I don't even know if I believe what I'm saying. I'm going to say it anyway. Why? Because I want to pull out of my darkness and something I know matters more than my pain, and that's God's purposes in my life. God's purposes in my life. So, this is really a golden nugget that if you follow it, you can move past your depression. I'm not saying your depression will totally go away, and for some of you will, some of you it won't. But purpose and meaning can return, but you must re-engage. You must, one, allow something to matter more than your pain, and it's usually a person. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's looking at you. You may not even know who that person is, but they're saying, man, that person's down and out. She's down and out. He's down and out. However, let's see how they're coping with this. And when I see them still working their life, still trying to be productive, still caring about others, then that motivates me watching you and gives me hope that life is worth living, because I see that you have hope that life is worth living, and that's how it works. I'm Dr. Michael Misja. I'm from North Coast Family Foundation. We're a Christian counseling center in Northeast Ohio. Look us up on the internet, northcoastfamily.com. Wonderfully trained, deep people on our staff. If you need help, give us a call, send an email, and look forward to this next video that I will be doing. Bye now.